Dispensationalism is a way of reading the Bible and organizing salvation history that became especially influential in modern evangelical and prophecy-centered circles. At its simplest, it divides history into distinct divine economies or dispensations, and that's periods in which God administers his purposes in different ways while still moving towards a final consummation. The system is strongly associated with John Nelson Darby and later with Bible conference culture and study Bibles like the Schofield one and popular prophecy teaching. In British history, it matters because one of the roots of it is in the British world, even though much of its later popular expansion happens in North America. Dispensationalism is especially known for sharply distinguishing Israel and the church. That really is one of its defining features. Promises given to Israel are not simply absorbed into the church. They retain a future reference for Israel, and that conviction then shapes how prophecy, millennium, tribulation, and end times expectations are all read. That is why dispensationalism usually travels closely to premillennial expectation, though the two are not identical. Premillennialism says Christ returns before the millennium, and dispensational adds a more elaborate scriptural framework for mapping the ages and distinguishing the peoples and promises involved. It has a very specific style of Bible reading. Dispensationalists often present themselves as reading prophecy more literally or more straightforwardly than rival systems. Critics, of course, would say the system imposes its own grid on Scripture, and that dispute is part of the interesting story. Historically, dispensationalism is important because it helped shape conference evangelicalism, and it created prophecy charts and popular eschatology and later Christian attitudes to Israel, world events, and the sense of living near the end. For many believers, it offered clarity. The Bible felt clear and mapped, and history felt intelligible and readable, and current events could be fitted into a larger divine timetable. That can be spiritually energizing, though it can also become speculative, anxious, or overconfident. In the British setting, dispensationalism belongs near brethren influence and conference culture and later transatlantic evangelical exchange. It's not the whole story of British evangelicalism, but it becomes a significant thread in the modern prophecy-minded religion. Its importance lies in the interpretive shape more than the doctrine, because a church trained to read history through imminent prophetic fulfillment will often sound different from one that's trained in covenantal continuity or amillennial reserve. So dispensationalism is a modern system of biblical interpretation that divides salvation history into distinct dispensations. It strongly distinguishes Israel and the church and has had major influence on evangelical prophecy teaching and end times expectations and modern readers of scripture and history. It also became influential through notes, charts, conference preaching, and the habit of treating prophecy as a key for reading current events. And that made dispensationalism feel practical and urgent, not just theoretical, because believers could imagine themselves living at a very specific point in God's unfolding timetable.